December 1st, this clip is from, as well as December 1st was the day that Dylan Mortensen was interviewed.
Did the bedroom doors of the 4 murdered University of Idaho students have electronic locks like this? A former tenant posted this photo and says all 6 bedrooms had combination locks. It's believed the students had a lock on their door similar to this. This is a keypad lock, and I'm
Truly not sure how mainstream media got it wrong, but there were no locks, padded locks on any of the doors of any of the bedrooms, and that had been known for quite some time.
Now, Kara, can you hear me okay?
Yes, I can.
This is the interview that Ashley Banfield does with Xana's mother, December 1st, and then she broadcast bits and pieces on December 2nd and December 3rd, and then a little bit.
There is a mysterious sort of 4-hour and 45-minute block of time that's unaccounted for by the police timeline. The police say that your daughter Xana and her boyfriend Ethan were at the Sigma Chi house from 8 until 9 p.m., but then they don't have any information on where they were from 9 p.m. till 1:45 a.m. Do you know anything about that from either your information from the police or Ethan's family or anybody?
I may be candid in saying this, but I think that they were at a bar.
And where do you get that information from? Did someone tell you that they'd gone from the Sigma Chi house to a bar before they ended up home?
That's what their father conveyed to me, that he thought that they were at the bar that night. So, yeah, I mean, that's what college kids do on the weekends. So.
But you don't know for sure that they left the Sigma Chi house, went to a bar.
This would make perfect sense as to why MPD kept this hush-hush and why Jeff told people that Xana stayed in and got pizza, because he was told not to release this information to the public because Ethan and Xana were, yes, underage, and then being out in the bars.
On social media anymore without being some kind of weird stalker. So that wouldn't surprise me. I don't think that that's what it was, though. I will be honest with you. I think it's closer than that. I think it's deeper than that. I think I think they have information that they're not giving us, and it's real fishy. That's what I will say.
When you say you think it goes deeper than that, what do you mean?
I mean, I think it was somebody closer than a stalker, and I don't know who. I'm not gonna specify anything like that. I'm just going to say I think that it's somebody, you know, and I think possibly they may have trusted. That's the only thing I can think of, because how could something like this happen so quickly, so quietly, so without any answer, unless it was somebody super close to them? You know what I mean?
Do you think the person who did this had been in that house before?
I think they knew them. I think they may have even been friends with them. I think it had to have been somebody close to them to have been able to get away with it like this. Just without, you know, it just doesn't make sense. None of this makes any sense. It had to have been somebody they trusted that was, you know what I mean? I mean, somebody who knew the house well, somebody who knew them well.
Now, please keep in mind, when we fast forward to 2025, after the suppression hearings, we find out the dates of when Dylan Mortensen had interviews with law enforcement. And that would be November 13th, November 17th, December 1st, December 13th, and then finally December 30th.
She also said something very significant that none of us knew before, and that was that her daughter, Xana, likely had a lock on her bedroom door. Her mom believes that her bedroom door had a lock. And she also said that Xana's dad, Jeff, had just the week before this murder been at that house to fix a lock. Whether it was the lock on the bedroom door or an outside door to the house, that's unclear. But Xana's mom knows that Xana's dad had fixed a lock at that house just the week before. I want to bring back in Brian Enton, who has been on this case. Brian, you see the photo on the screen right now. On the left-hand side is an image of an inside lock on a bedroom door in the basement, in the lower floors. And the person who took that picture was the former tenant who moved out in 2009. And he told Fox Digital that his bedroom door had a coded lock, and that's the photo of it. He said every bedroom in that house had a coded lock on it. But if we look on the right-hand side, that's a recent picture from social media of the second floor bedroom across from the kitchen. And you can see that does not appear to be, at least in this picture, a coded lock. So it's possible that in the last 3 years, some of the bedrooms may have actually changed. But it is quite a development to hear, definitely, that Xana was on the second floor and that her mom believes she had that lock and her dad had worked on it a week prior, possibly.
Yeah, I mean, that's the first time we've heard that, Ashley. So you know, I'm just trying to think this through here. A different lock, you know, is that a reason that the killer was possibly able to get into the room? Certainly possible, but just heartbreaking. I was listening to your whole interview so closely. Just heartbreaking to hear that mom speak for the first time. Very similar what she's saying to Kaylee's parents, who I spoke to a couple of hours ago. Just frustration that they don't have information, and frustration that you know that they say the police you know aren't keeping them updated as frequently.
So that is something that is new at this point. You know, obviously, Brian, tomorrow is the 3-week mark since those kids went out on a Saturday night, like all college kids do, and had a great time and got home at a pretty reasonable hour, you know, for college kids, 1:45 in the morning. And I'm sensing as well from the Gonsalves family, and I cannot imagine the pain that they are suffering, especially since they've been left in the dark. But they are starting to, their patience is giving way to frustration. It seemed pretty clear.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they, I mean, you heard what they said. I mean, they don't understand. Their main frustration tonight seemed that they just don't understand why some of the people are being cleared. They want to know what the alibis are. They're like, is it just a friend who said I saw them? I mean, they want to know what the crystal clear alibis are of why some of these people were cleared. Something else interesting, Ashley, because I heard Xana's mom bring it up and you asked her about the stalker. I got some clarification tonight about that from Kaylee's family. They actually don't know of a specific stalker or that she was being stalked. But they did say something similar to what Xana's mom just told you, just that, you know, these were very, very pretty girls and that it wouldn't surprise them if there was a stalker or people, you know, men following them around. But they did not know of a specific person.
Well, that's fascinating because the police said in a news conference when a reporter asked, where did you get the information about the stalker, you know, to start with? The police said it came up in interviews that they've been conducting. They didn't say who in the interviews told them that Kaylee had a stalker, but Kaylee's dad, Steve, has revealed that Kaylee told her dad, Steve, that she had a stalker. So I'm trying to figure out if it was Steve who brought that information to the police and they've not been able to corroborate it, or if someone else brought that information to the police and Steve could corroborate it. Is that still unclear?
So I think there was confusion along the way is what her parents told me, that, you know, I don't know if they were misquoted or how it actually came out that the dad said there was a specific stalker, but he says that is not the case. There is not a specific person that they know of. It was more of just this general feel.
The Idaho4, the Red Flag Project, episode 6, If Locks Could Kill. If you go back and look at what news stories would break on the days of Dylan's interviews with law enforcement or the days right thereafter, it seems pretty obvious that someone was leaking something from those interviews. Yes, law enforcement to media. Now, here on December 21st, 2022, our good buddy JLR would make his way out to Moscow, Idaho, and he attempted to interview the vape guy. Yes, the store manager, just like News Nation did, but he didn't have as much as a success as News Nation did.
Police made no arrests.
Why was law enforcement running them from these stalker narratives, only to then push it in their probable cause affidavit?
Like I said, they probably, I'd say, 4
went in there to try to speak and get some clarity from the vape shop. The manager spoke to another person there, but this is the encounter I had. Check it out.
Where's your vape guy? Where's the vape guy? So I want to know more about the stalking situation. Oh, he doesn't want to talk to me. Do you want to talk? Okay. You got a fly? You want to fly?
They didn't want to talk. They didn't want to talk. So was that just an exclusive interview with News Nation that they gave a contract between them not to talk to anyone else but News Nation, Brian Enton, or did the vape manager see that his face was plastered all over the news after he gave the interview, and people might have been questioning that, or he basically didn't want the exposure that he thought he was going to get. I'm just going to show you this vape shop. At the very least, he's claiming that the girls came into this vape shop here. I'm going to show you what it looks like. It is closed. It is closed. But that is, let's see, all the vapes.
In closing, check out this last clip. I was stunned when I saw November 23rd, 2022 as the production date. Someone told law enforcement as early as at least November 23rd, 2022, that Kaylee had a stalker. Yes, before 11/23/2022. Who was that person? It has come out that it came out in an interview that was had between law enforcement and a person that they interviewed. It has to be in reports because it came from an interview. Again, this date would also be the last ever police public press conference until the arrest of Ryan Koberger. Remember, Dylan was interviewed a second time on 11/17/2022, and then a third time on 12/1/2022.
In a desperate search for answers, police in Idaho say they've received hundreds of pieces of information regarding one of the murder victims, Kaylee Gonzalez, potentially having a stalker.
You hope to provide clarity in the near future in regards to Kaylee potentially having a stalker?
Yeah, that whole situation, it's a whole nother dynamic of this investigation. And so that's something obviously that we're looking at.
But this morning, authorities say they have not been able to verify or identify one. This comes as police receive other tips from the community, like surveillance video, which could help investigators piece together a timeline leading to the gruesome stabbing deaths of Gonzalez, Madison Mogan, Shanna Coronado, and Ethan Chapin at this off-campus home.
But I can show you what you're missing.
Another potential lead for detectives, videos like these of the students posted to Kaylee's TikTok. They could help in the investigation. This one showing her, Maddie, and Shanna seen along with their surviving roommates whose faces we've blurred. One of the last videos posted shows Kaylee and Maddie, lifelong best friends.
In a case like this, though, where the victims and the survivors were all so active on social media, is that helpful to the investigation to learn about them and their friends and their lives?
Well, I think it's both helpful, and it also just enlarges the investigation overall. It just has more people for us to try and contact and try and get information on the evening in question, and just be able to do a full analysis and review of the case.
The restaurant where Shanna and Maddie worked, the Mad Greek, has reopened. Their coworkers left devastated and afraid.
It's hard for them to want to come back to work because they don't necessarily feel safe here. They don't know who it was that did this.
On campus, state police increasing visibility for the foreseeable future, and the university now saying it will offer remote learning for the rest of the semester, as some students worry about returning after fall break.
We're over a week away from these murders. At this point, there's really more questions than answers. What do you have to say to this community that does seem to be on edge right now?
So I've been out in the community and I've talked to people. As we're getting dinner, as we're getting coffee, we've talked to people, and there's fear in this community. But as well, there's trust in the police department that they know that this work is being done. The community has patience. Other people don't.
Well, that's certainly true. And police say that, while people have left town, those that are connected to this case remain very cooperative. And Michael, they also want to assure everybody that this investigation will continue at a rigorous pace throughout this Thanksgiving holiday.
Yeah, we know that they're
The
doing everything.
Red Flag Project, episode 6. Make sure you guys go ahead there and fast forward. And then, after you rewind, and on 11/17 or 12/1, those are the only two possible dates of when Dylan Mortensen was showed pictures of Brian Culver. According to the suppression hearing, State's Exhibit S1 and S2, Ashley Jennings oral arguing. And ladies and gentlemen, that is far too soon to be showing Dylan Mortensen pictures of Brian Culver unless he wasn't figured out some other way, even